Welcome back everyone to the third round of the London Chess Classic. Alireza today played against Mickey Adams, one of the legendary players from England. And today we have Gioco Pianissimo, slow Italian or calm Italian with bishop c5. Alireza goes c3, and after knight f6 he just plays d3, signature move of Gioco Pianissimo. And one of the advantage of white here is that we have already the pawn on c3, which limits the knight on c6. And in this position, Mickey Adams plays castle, which is the most flexible move and keeps the option of going d5 right away rather than slow ideas like a6, d6, h6, bishop e6, routing the knight, playing for center. So Alireza here has multiple options as well, castle, b4, a4, and he chose to go a4. And here there's a trap here. You should not go d6 because your bishop gets trapped. So here after a4, Mickey Adams, instead of going a slow stuff c6 d5 in the long run or a slow Italian, he just goes d5 right away. And the thing is, exchanging of these two pawns, he has the control in the center, centralizes the knight, and he's going to sack a pawn for this bishop. He's literally going for this bishop on c4. And in a lot of the lines, black sacks the pawn on e5 for two bishop advantage. And if you want to really stop this idea and push pawns, you just make weaknesses on your queen side. That's black's idea and very dynamic way of playing this line. So in this position, Alireza just played castle, very logical move, and knight b6 as was his plan. And in this position, black is asking, do you really want to stay on this diagonal or want to go here? If you leave this c4 square and, for example, go here, sometimes this pawn on d3 could be a backward pawn as well. So Alireza said, no, I just go and put pressure on the knight, and he said, okay, I just play a5. If you want to take and win the pawn, you're welcome, because my bishop on c8 gonna be a monster. I'm gonna play on the white squares, and especially the pawn on d3. And also in some lines, a lot of variations, this bishop doesn't have a good square to go. So in this position, Alireza doesn't take the knight. Just to show you one line, for example, this is a very cool line. For example, if rook e8, knight takes f7, because if you take queen h5, you win the bishop. There is a move like queen f6, and this is a very inspiring line. Why black plays such lines with d5 immediately going for sacking a pawn. And in this position, knight g5, brilliant move here for black is bishop to g4, giving up the bishop for free because you're underdeveloped. And if I take, there is boom, queen takes f2, and if you take, it's checkmate. So this is a very inspiring line, why black plays such pawn sacrifices. And Alireza just played, no, thank you, I just developed my knight, going for knight e4, maybe knight c4, maybe knight b3. Normally this knight goes to e4, and whenever you go bishop g4, h3, bishop h5, I just kick it out with knight g3 sometimes, or even g4. So in this position, you're all still in theory. He plays bishop d6, guards the pawn on e5. He's not going to sack the pawn. And Alireza said, okay, if you're not going really for my bishop with like knight a7, sacking the pawn, or in moves in such a spirit like bishop g4, I'm not going to allow you to win my bishop. So this move, I thought, I mean, this is not the optimal move. I mean, the best move here is like rook e1, h3. I mean, these moves objectively or better, but all of them are worked out to draw. So Alireza tries something more fresh, and yeah, I mean, now I'm threatening more to take two pieces. The most logical is just take, and I conserve my bishop. But the thing is, okay, this knight on b6 was not beautiful for black, and black is kind of happy to exchange this, and the position is getting more simple. But the thing is, this knight g5 is coming, bishop g5 is coming, so now black plays very logical move h6, controls this g5 square, and seems like black is completely fine. But okay, still we have our own ideas, and still a couple of pieces on the board. Alireza goes rook to e1, and after queen f6, here is the critical position. Alireza thought for a long time here, and could not really find something advantageous, which probably doesn't exist. So when Alireza played knight c4, I thought he wants to go for something like knight d2 immediately, and after king h8 he wants to go queen h5, and f5 he wants to go knight f3. I thought he wants to just attack Mickey Adams. Battle of generations, battle of styles. He's very positional. Alireza is very tactical, but here he just killed the game with queen e8. and there some one game in database which ended in a draw. So yeah, knight d2 knight d4 was nice idea, but he just goes rook e1, and after queen f6 again he had to just go knight d2 here. I mean, and after queen g6 knight e4, bishop e7 saves the bishop, very logical move. And in this position I think something like bishop e3, and with the idea after king h8 you go f4 or something like that could have been very logical for Alireza. But suddenly he started thinking a lot and he just played queen b3 here, stopping bishop e6 idea, which was bothering him. So now you cannot play because I just double up your pawns, and this is not great. Also b7 pawn is hanging. So he just stopped this idea, but the problem is that the queen is a bit out of the game. And here Mickey Adams played queen g6, which is a very good move. But okay, his style is not that aggressive, and Alireza probably was playing against his style. Again, after a little thought, he just played a move that which is a bit weird, like bishop d2. If you want to go d4, take and control b4, that makes sense. But I think Alireza just wanted to develop his pieces. So more precise move was just again knight d2, knight e4, bring the knight as soon as possible to e4. Yeah, because bishop d2, I mean, here again Mickey Adams doesn't want to go for the baroque or attack aggressively, he just plays bishop d7. So for example, if you play bishop h3, I just go knight h4, and after queen h5 I can take, and I can just take here, and there is a very beautiful here move for black. The knight is under attack, but you just go e4, you open the bishop, and if I take the pawn, queen takes h3, attacks the pawn on h2, and bishop f4, the game goes on. And if I take the knight for free, you just take, and it's kind of impossible to stop the mate here. For example, if you just take here, classic checkmate pattern on f2. So bishop h3 is not the best move, because after knight h4 here, take, I just take, and yeah, there's just bishop f4. So that's why, I mean, bishop g4 is a better move objectively, and I don't know what was Alireza's idea. Probably he wanted to go rook e3, but I think that's, he just missed his pawn to e4. Both players, they missed their pawn to e4 here, and there's bishop f4 move, which is winning for black. Or maybe he just wanted to play bishop d5, who knows. Bishop d5, but now the pawn on d3 is hanging, bishop e4, queen. Okay, I mean, it's far from the king, but you are down a pawn. Maybe he wanted to go for this variation. Maybe he wanted to go for this variation. But okay, this is also completely equal. Anyways, bishop d2, but Mickey just plays bishop d7. Of course, you cannot take, the queen gets trapped. And here the best move was to go d4, because at least to make this bishop make sense on d2, because now, for example, knight b4, I just take, and I have knight e5, this e5 square. When the pawn is on h6 already, this e5 square becomes important, because you can rarely play f6. So rook d1, and there's just develops the rook. I mean, the computer doesn't like it. Again, because king h8, f5, you know, I mean, black could be aggressive. But Mickey just played rook d8, very logical move, developing his pieces. Computer wanted something like king h8, and for example, I don't know, something like bishop d5. I mean, you have always knight e7, and if you go something like king h1, for example, again bishop g4, bishop d5, guard it. You can go for f5, queen h5, try to generate checkmate ideas on h2. And if white plays h3, is just making it even more weak. So rook d8, very natural move. Alireza plays bishop d5 with the idea maybe bishop e4. You cannot go f5, you have to unpin the pawn first. Also, sometimes you can take, and rook b8, queen a6. In the last move, if you just take the pawn on b7, rook b8 here, you cannot go to c4, so the queen is getting trapped. So bishop d5, the idea is to take the pawn on b7 as well, and have the c4 square at the end. So in this position, he just plays b6. Very simple chess by both players, very logical, but okay, computer didn't like the whole process of developing normally, and also for black also. Our computer was shouting, just attack, bro, just attack, go for baroque on the king side. But okay, in practical chess, it's not that easy. Knight h4 by Alireza attacks the queen. Where do you go with the queen? If you go to h7, it's a bit ugly. The queen doesn't have a lot of squares, right? Queen g4 here, here, 4 squares. And here he played queen f6, attacks the knight, and Alireza comes back. Here black is better with the rook, like rook f8, rook fe8. Like, I mean, for why black is better? Because white cannot really hit the center with d4. There is no pawn break, and black's position is very solid. But okay, I mean, she should come up with ideas. Maybe knight e7, knight g6, going for ideas. But Alireza can always take maybe the knight, maybe go for d4 if this knight move. So Mickey just decides to go queen g6. Alireza goes knight h4, queen g6, and knight h4 back. The game ends in a draw. Alireza has 2 points out of 3. Very solid result after 3 rounds. And in the next round, he's going to play against Pavel Elyanov. What did he do today? Pavel did... he still is playing. He is still playing. He is a bit better. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Today's game was shorter than usual, but still in a good position for Alireza, 2 out of 3. And let's see how it goes. I really appreciate all the supports, comments, subscribes, and likes, and hopefully we keep going, and I keep this. If you really learn something from these videos and it creates value, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next recaps. Ciao, ciao.